A group of Roman politicians killed their leader to protect the Republic. In the decades following the murder, that same Republic vanished, replaced by the very system of one-man rule the assassins were trying to prevent. This backfire resulted from a calculation that went wrong. The conspirators acted to save a government, but their method initiated a sequence of events they were not prepared to manage. To understand how the Republic ended, we have to look at why these men concluded that an assassination was their only viable option. In early 44 BC, Julius Caesar returned from a civil war that spanned the Roman world. He has crushed his rival, Pompey the Great, and he is now the man who holds all the power in Rome. He pardoned the surviving politicians who had just fought against him, allowing them to keep their seats in the Senate. By leaving his enemies in the room, Caesar was sending a message. He was demonstrating that they were no longer capable of threatening him. The aristocratic senators were fuming. Rome's traditions were built on a hatred of kings. Centuries earlier, the Romans had overthrown their last monarch and sworn a sacred oath to reject any single ruler. He walked Rome in solid purple, the literal color of royalty. He was declared dictator for life, ruling from a golden throne. He broke a taboo by minting his own face on the currency, an act of self-promotion no living Roman had ever dared. Watching this was Marcus Junius Brutus. Caesar treated him like a son, but his ancestor had driven out the final king of Rome. The resulting conspiracy, a group of 60 senators calling themselves the Liberators, grew from an ideological desperation to stop Caesar's ego from overriding Roman law. As the Ides of March approached, the city felt tense. Ancient historians report a series of bad omens, peaking the night before the Senate meeting when Caesar's wife, Calpurnia, woke from a nightmare of his murdered body. Shaken by his wife's panic, Caesar considered staying home. He decided to send a messenger to the Senate to tell them he was taking a personal day. If Caesar didn't show up, the conspirators risked execution. So Decimus Brutus went to Caesar's house and targeted the dictator's ego. He convinced Caesar that hiding from a dream would make the Senate view him as a weak, superstitious coward. Caesar left his home to make the walk to the theater of Pompey. As he navigated the crowds, someone shoved a scroll into his hand containing the names of the conspirators. Caesar ignored it, keeping the scroll gripped in his hand as he entered the building. The plot survived the morning because Caesar's focus on his own image made him believe that no one would dare strike him. Caesar walked into the Senate and sat on his chair. The 60 liberators instantly swarmed him, crowding in under the guise of presenting a petition. A senator yanks Caesar's toga down, and a second man slashes down with a dagger. But Caesar reacts immediately. As a military veteran, he catches the attacker's arm, rustles the blade away, and fights back. The attack devolves into a disorganized frenzy. 60 politicians panic, swinging their blades so wildly in the tight circle that they end up accidentally stabbing each other. Caesar fights until the mob parts for a brief second. He looks up and sees Brutus standing with a blood-soaked dagger. Witnessing the betrayal from his surrogate son, all the fight leaves his body. Caesar pulls his toga over his head to cover his face, collapsing at the base of a statue dedicated to Pompey, the rival he had defeated to gain his power. This diagram shows the forensic reality of that attack. When a physician examined the body, he determined that out of 23 stab wounds, only a single strike to the chest was actually fatal. The murder was a panicked, emotional slaughter that exposed the conspirators' lack of practical foresight. The assassins raised their daggers expecting glory, but they found an empty room. The other politicians had sprinted out in a panic, and the citizens of Rome were locking their doors in terror. The conspirators made a catastrophic miscalculation. They believed they were saving the Republic for everyone, unaware that the everyday people of Rome adored Julius Caesar. At the funeral, Caesar's right-hand man, Mark Antony, delivered a masterclass in political manipulation. Antony read Caesar's last will and testament aloud. It revealed that Caesar had left a portion of his wealth to every single Roman citizen and donated his private gardens to the public. The crowd erupted into a riot. Furious that their leader had been butchered, they built a funeral pyre in the center of the city, forcing the assassins to flee Rome for their lives. The liberators succeeded in killing the dictator, but they misunderstood their audience. In doing so, they lost the very republic they had committed murder to protect. The assassination created a power vacuum. The absence of leadership plunged the Roman world into over a decade of bloody civil wars. Out of the ashes of that chaos emerged Caesar's adopted heir, a teenager named Octavian. He systematically hunted down every single remaining assassin. Octavian then centralized control, rising to unchallenged power as Augustus, the first Roman emperor. The assassins' desperate plot to prevent a king accidentally engineered a permanent empire. Violence simply bred more violence, and their betrayal resulted in the opposite of what they intended.